Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another, yes, you might have thought we were done with this one, another Neverness to Everness video. And this time, it's going to be a react. Been a while since we've done one of those, and the title is, I am not impressed with Neverness to Everness. This is going to be a bit of a critique piece. And one thing that is abundantly clear about Neverness to Everness's release is that the game did launch to quite a bit of fanfare, quite a bit of sponsored streamers, a lot of active concurrent viewership, both on YouTube and Twitch. But the reality of it is that, as you can kind of see, I'm going to give you a bit of a preview over here for what the numbers are looking like in the present. Yeah, it's kind of on the downtrend. You can't really even argue about that. It's gone down, down, down like a merry-go-round, and it's kind of just hitting a new all-time low every single day, just lower and lower every single time. And when you go ahead and you take a look at some of the viewership of this game on YouTube specifically, right, we got NTE up here and then YouTube searches, you can see that it's taken a similar sort of dive downward. And then when you go ahead and you decide to put in like some other names, let's put in everyone's favorite failure over here, Arknight's Enfield, still doing better than that one. Yeah, still doing better than AKE, so it's not looking like all bad here, right? However, all you got to do is put in one of the more, some of the more consistent performers in the gacha space, specifically those that might have a nice, cool little collab coming up. And as you can see, there's NTE is beginning to cross that threshold. Time has passed. The sort of like glitter, honeymoon period, all of that, it appears to be coming to an end. So I thought now would be an appropriate time to start taking a look at some of these critique pieces over here, because I have kind of dropped the game, sort of. I kind of officially have at this point, and I'm eager to see some of the reasons across the space for why others might have been doing the same thing. So without further ado, that's enough context, that's enough info about what's going on around the space. Let's go ahead and see what it's going like over, down in NTE.
Man, I can't even lie. I was excited for this game.
Me too.
I didn't look into it much prior to release, as I find that usually makes the wait for a game I'm interested in feel even longer. So,
all right, this guy sounds like a little bit too casual for me, so I'm gonna have to speed him up so there's like higher stakes here.
For the most part, I just get the gist of it, and if it seems interesting, I get a release date and usually don't check out much more information about it till I go to play it. Not to say I quarantine myself from information, because that seems a bit much, but I won't exactly seek it out, bar some games that are the exceptions.
Okay, so this guy basically went for the, I am not going to inundate or spam myself with NTE news. I'm just going to consume some of the content very sparingly, and then make sure that I have all of the hype ready for release. So yeah, all of the stuff, hopefully, that's like actually in the game, he's able to make like a pretty fresh judgment on it, considering that, he hasn't already killed the hype or like gotten himself too engrossed in it before stuff's even come out and, like burned himself out already.
And the premise that I heard over and over for Neverness to Everness was a gacha game that is anime GTA. And honestly, that alone had me interested, because it's different. The hell you mean a gacha is going to try to be like GTA with a shit ton of anime characters? Alright, sounds cool enough. Game's free, I'll give it a try. And in my time of playing it, if I'm being honest, it felt like a soulless amalgamation of ideas pulled from other games with no thought being put towards how those ideas function together or if they even work together.
He's kind of spot on.
And yeah, that's a pretty harsh outlook. I won't.
He's kind of right. Yeah, so this has kind of been like my baseline viewpoint about NTE. There's a lot to do in that game. There's a lot of content. There's a lot of side activities. There's a lot of stuff like baked in, coded in, kind of like built into the gameplay that if you're somebody that likes everything in there, you're going to be eating for a long, long, long time. There are going to be some people out there that love NTE. Those are people that are simply looking for things to do, that enjoy having like checklists with a lot of things in them, and then feel like a sense of accomplishment from getting those things on the checklist done. But when I'm talking about the items on the checklist, I'm talking about things like do the dishes, put the dishes away, like walk to the living room, go replace like the upholstery on the furniture. It's like stuff like that where it's kind of just like, great, I'm doing it, great, there's a lot of stuff to do, but a lot of it kind of ends up feeling like chores, especially doing things like the weekly stamina energy thing. You guys know it. If you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. Yo, anyone out here cleared out all their city stamina every week? Yo, anyone out here be spending their 700, 800, all of their city stamina? Don't lie, you're not doing that.
Why? But the thing is, I don't even think the game is godforsakenly awful. I just feel like, if I'm being objective about it, that is the most accurate description I can give. So
I think the main thing that really turns the game off for most of the people will be seeing all of the side activities, things to do, all of like the budget, all of the time spent in other areas, but then seeing like the core combat gameplay loop is a bit... It's not really, the combat doesn't feel that great. At least from like a systems perspective, from like a satisfaction perspective, it's kind of like playing Wuthering Waves, but you don't have concerto skills. Because there are some characters, right, that do the intro, outro thing like well, like the MC. But then there are other characters where it's just like, bro, do they even have an outro skill? I'm pretty sure I could do 3 rotations on these guys before I charge one up. Like, I feel like I could do 3 rotations on, like, one of these characters before they have, like, their transition skill ready. It's kind of just, like, I don't know. It feels like there's, like, something missing. Maybe it's because I haven't, like, delved into it enough. But there hasn't been something that really, like, hooks me into it. And it does feel... Well, at least with certain characters, specifically the debut launch character, right? It just feels very button mashy.
Oh, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I feel like in the past, I've been a lot more kind in my reviews of games. I focus a lot more on the positive aspects in my reviews because I didn't want to feel like I was bashing the game. However, this...
Oh, yeah, I see. Well, sometimes you gotta take the kitty gloves off, ladies and gentlemen. And it's just, I know a lot of people that like to focus on the positives a lot, but this is the thing. How many positives does it take to outweigh a negative that's taking you out of the game? There's a lot of good stuff in NTE. It's got the best gacha system. It's got incredible resources. It feels like the store and all of that. Like the way that they're monetizing, it's mostly skins instead of like making the characters and the weapons hard. Like a lot of that stuff is good. But like if the core gameplay and the story is like giga bad, and the progression doesn't feel that good, and it feels like I'm not really like spending my time that well, there's a lot of stuff that can be good, but there are some things that just take away so much, or that interrupt the flow, or that cause enough of a problem that all the good in the world wouldn't be enough to save it. And I think that's where focusing on the negatives, that's where focusing on the detractors is a lot more important, especially if they're big enough, well, to cause issues like this.
To me, looking back at some reviews and thinking, yep, should have just said everything that was on my mind, because Lord knows I was way too kind to...
Okay, I'm glad that he's had this perspective now, because you gotta be really upfront about the negatives if they're actually bad.
Duet Night Abyss, for example. Granted, not a singular soul could have foresaw just how ass that shit was gonna get, but I tried to mainly focus on the aspects I thought were good, or at least give a bigger spotlight to that instead of how big the spotlight should have been on the negative aspects.
And they didn't fix one of the biggest issues with this game was the grind feeling endless and not impactful. And so once you reach a certain point in this game, you're kind of just like, all right, now I'm ready to move at a literal snail's pace for like 7 months. And it's like, there's not enough content in the game for me to want to do that.
And in turn, it led to a review that, when I look back on it, I don't think is as accurate as it could have been. Which is why for this review, I'm just going to give up my opinion how it is.
What happened to DNA? Basically, their endgame gameplay loop was not conducive at all to maintaining players in the long run. And you essentially were just at a point where you were grinding infinitely to move like 1 mile an hour on like initially on the just like improving your character's gear, and that was like pretty much it. And you didn't even need to improve the gear, and you were kind of just like sitting there banging your head against a wall, and everyone dropped the game in like 1.0, 1.1.
So I'm gonna say, if you're the type to get mad at people on the internet not liking your favorite game, just click off this video.
Yeah, well, this is a perfect video for us to watch, and it's going to be a perfect video on our channel. Hey, and by the way, I think the video creator's doing an awesome job with this one so far. I feel like this is it's already off to a strong start.
Click off to go watch one glazing it, or, I don't know, actually just play it or something.
If you're offended by this video, just go watch the Gacha Smack review. Yeah, just go watch the gacha smack review, and then you'll be happy about NTE again, don't worry.
Being mad at me ain't gonna do much for you, so just spend your time better. And most importantly,
or just go watch one of his 17 sponsored streams and he'll tell you this game is good.
Me not liking it shouldn't affect your enjoyment of it. If you really like it, that's all that matters. Enjoy your time playing it. I want to accurately review the game from how I feel about it, though I don't want to stop people from playing something they enjoy. But me personally, I didn't enjoy my time with it. The game started off with some promise. The beginning.
And this is the thing. It's a free-to-play game. But free-to-play games are not free. You want to know why? Because a free-to-play game requires that you pay with one of the most expensive resources that you have, though its value does vary depending on the individual. It's called your time. You want to know how long it takes to re-roll, or really just like even like start rolling on an account in a game like NTE? About like 20-30 minutes. Then you're like past the tutorial and stuff. That's how long this video is. And the thing is that if there's something in a game, something that puts you off from a game that'll have you like quitting it within like a week, then that is a lot of time effectively that you've wasted. And then maybe you could have saved that time by not starting the game at all and just watching a video like this instead. That's like 22 minutes. That's a helpful thing being done for the space. And yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a reason for somebody to get mad at that.
Me personally, I didn't enjoy my time with it. The game started off with some promise. The beginning cutscene was visually really well done. The way they mixed 2D art onto the 3D environment was really impressive. Then later on, the prologue of you dealing with an anomaly had great atmosphere. I wouldn't say it was really scary, but it did a good job at giving the atmosphere of a horror game, which is impressive to do when your game is made of bright anime graphics. Now, those two things were, when I saw them, big strengths for the game. However, they really just fell flat later on. Like the horror atmosphere they had, that shit dissipated in the main story, quickly. Literally, the next chapter afterwards feels like something ripped out of a slice of life anime. You're celebrating the birthday of this domesticated anomaly.
They're not wrong. The game kind of goes for like an all-out sort of vibe, but when everything's all over the place, you can't take it very seriously, right? It's like, you guys know the Scary Movie series, right? Where it's like Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're like intentionally not scary. They're more like comedic. That's the vibe that I get from the story of this game. It's like a Scary Movie level of scary, with like all of like the jokes and the humor and stuff like built in. And don't forget this, the big one, the cheesy ass characters and humor. And now you got this motherfucker on the screen over here.
And I shit you not, trying to help him rizz up this creature. Like, this is the quest that immediately follows up after the horror atmosphere they had for the first chapter. Now, I'm used to games with a slow burn, and at times it's needed to get you introduced to the cat.
See, it's good that this guy's explaining this, because I skipped all these, because the stories were shit.
Ask for you to actually give a damn about them. A lot of the times when games throw you headfirst into big emotional moments that are meant to grip you, they can fall flat if they didn't take the time to build up the characters. So having a slice of life chapter isn't a bad thing if you can make us give a damn about the cast, but this one didn't do that, because it mainly focused on Tagato. It makes sense because it's his birthday, but that thing doesn't really have any substantial amount of plot relevance in later chapters. The two chapters afterwards mainly focus on characters that appear in those chapters. So what the hell was this?
That quest over there with like Starry Express, bro, that was the worst thing I've ever played.
Slice of life meant to be. It didn't make me care about any of the characters, it broke the pacing and immediately just iced me out of something that seemed interesting.
This game is just spamming characters at you. If you thought a game like Woo-Wah maybe wasn't that good because there wasn't enough character interactions, let me show you a game like NTE that actively gets worse because of its character interactions. Bro, it's like they looked for every opportunity for these units to say like useless, pointless, like one-liner quips to each other, and they were like, if there's a chance to weave one in there, do it. This game has the most like pointless back and forth like single statements between each other, between the character voice lines I've ever fucking heard, to the degree where half of the dialogue is just going in one ear and then out the other because you don't care, and you'll never care because you've been given no reason to care the entire quest about what these guys are saying. And at a certain point, I just started tuning out the fucking dialogue. Like, I like, maybe that was their intention because, like, you're on the quest line with a bunch of annoying kids, right? And they're, like, saying annoying kid shit that adults naturally start tuning out. Maybe that was the point. It was realistic, and I didn't want to listen.
Why wasn't this a side quest? The next chapter was better, but I wouldn't be lying if I said you can sum up what happens in it on a sticky note and that'd cover most of the important details you needed. The gang goes to
this quest, bro.
To an auction house to get something.
Bro, this quest, bro.
Hattori gets drunk and rage baits everyone in a Pokemon battle. Someone comes in and steals what they are aiming for. They need to stop the anomalies hurting the place. The story doesn't get interesting again until the final chapter we have in the game now, but dear...
Wait, that's it? Wait, it skipped all of that?
God, it wasn't worth the filler that was before it. The mystery...
Wait, that was where I left off in the story. I left off in the story after the auction, and so you're telling me nothing happens until the last quest.
Yeah, but it's intriguing. I think it helps bring back the interesting atmosphere this game has, but even then, it's not really like it's enough to make me think the main story of the game wasn't uninteresting as all hell.
Yeah, I know this Bella character is the one that most people are looking forward to, so I guess they did say the best for last. It's just a lot of people, they ain't ever gonna get there.
The game literally feels like, on one hand, there's interesting horror elements to it, and they do an impressive job with mixing it into the open world, like when you go to find an anomaly, how it shifts the world around that. Then on the other hand, the story is also obsessed with making all of their characters act like comedic relief side characters in an anime, whilst the main story plot is a collection of random bullshit go. It's just kind of baffling. Now, the open world does a good job of diving more into the anomalies. You can go on anomaly hunts and seek them out to fight them. One that stood out to me was going after these puppets that appear at night in the school. You'd go around the area and need to figure out how best to pacify them. Pretty much just solving the mystery of them and what's happening. And I can't...
Something almost makes me think that, like, if NTE had simply been broken up into several different games, it would have been better. I feel like the baseline motive of like hunting for anomalies, there just being a bunch of like creepy shit going on, and then you just like have a squad that's focused on like dealing with those. Yeah, I think it actually makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like Ghostbusters vibe, that sort of stuff. But I think in a similar way, it's just you end up doing everything, and there's so much side stuff to do that the anomaly stuff almost seems like it's on the back burner. Do you know what I mean? Imagine, like, it's like, imagine in Wuthering Waves that, like, 60% of your time is actually spent, like, farming, like, plants and stuff. And then, like, in Lahai Roy, instead of, like, dealing with Rhenonians, you were, like, interacting with the wildlife for 75% of your playtime. Then, like, the whole, like, dealing with laments, all of that is kind of, like, in the background. That's kind of like what it feels like, because obviously the main motivation in this game is to go, like, seek out the anomalies, go deal with them, but then, like, I'm spending, like, 6 hours on a Sunday fishing.
Can't lie. I was 100%
It's kind of hard to focus up, you know what I mean?
more engaged in that than chapters 1 and 2 of the main story. Now, the other part of the game I liked was the presentation. At first, I thought the cutscenes were really nice to look at. Then I played more of the game and realized that the cutscenes have 10,000 effects but no direction worth a damn. Like, look at the cutscene that plays here. It starts off with a motif of using a comic book style for moving between its scenes. That shit gets dropped and not used again later within the same exact cutscene. Hell, even during it, they don't stick with it because they use PowerPoint transitions between the scenes. Then Tageto appears, shows 10 different expressions in 3 seconds, screen turns dark trying to impose a menacing aura, it cuts to Adler, everything's bright and peachy. Like, it's impressive to see all this movement, effects, and time spent on the cutscene. It easily beats a black screen with white text, but more effort does not equal a better product.
The right word that they use here is called a polished turd. Where, even if you put, like, special effects like this, Michael Bay explosions everywhere, the craziest, snazziest, coolest stuff you could possibly imagine, if the dialogue is written by a, like, disabled toddler, it's still not going to be a great scene.
If you're making a scene for something, what's best isn't to open up the effects library and throw everything in it, or make 50 different PowerPoint transition effects. What's best is to recognize what you're trying to convey in a scene and doing that. For example, look at this show. It falls flat because it decides to play an unnecessary sound effect after the clip.
Well, let's try to see if there's a reaction with the container. Ugh, no reaction. How did you know?
If that wasn't there, it would work much better.
There's a lot of cringe shit in here that makes it seem like a Saturday morning cartoon. That's the vibe. That's the vibe that I got a lot in the story. Saturday morning cartoon, like goofy. Bit of a nostalgia hit, but it's also a bit of a fuck this shit is cringe hit.
Mint's energetic, click, give it a bit of time, wind noise plays out, hold that scene for a bit longer. Less is done, but it actually makes the joke work.
Well, let's try to see if there's a reaction with the container. Ugh, no reaction.
I just think it's a bad joke in the first place.
How did you know?
Yeah, I think it's just bad writing to make a joke surrounding a fucking paint spray can.
Now, does this scene matter at all?
That's my polished turd. If your joke surrounds around something like this, in like the opening quest of the game, like there's a better joke you could make that's funnier that... You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, no, it's unimportant.
And this is why I think the game is AI written. Because, like, bro, the dialogue in EN is, like, really bad. It's really low quality dialogue. It's not good.
but it's just an example to show that throwing everything at the board doesn't mean you're guaranteed a good result. Intention and effort will always beat out blind effort.
And this is what I think was going on. I think that the NTE devs were definitely able to like cut corners and save costs somewhere in their development of the story of this game. And as a result, I think they did divert some of their resources and then put them into like making the cutscenes and the stuff have more effects, look more vibrant, have like more sound effects, all of those things. But I think this is the result of taking a certain amount of budget and effort and then not allocating it to the proper places.
Which is what a lot of the cutscenes feel like at first. Now, it does taper off. Later ones are not as spammy in what they try to do. They're not even as expressive. They don't dive in just characters standing around with their mouse moving a little, but more so in line with a cutscene you'd normally see for a game.
And I think the main word I could use to describe NTE's cutscenes and dialogues and stuff is overproduced. Where it reminds me of Silverwolf level 999. It's like everyone that sees the product knows that you had to put a lot of work into it, but it's like really obvious you tried a little bit too hard in one way or another. And then it's lacking in other spaces, right? We all know this is Honkai. You put that in the game alongside whatever the fuck her like alongside level 999 special effects. This is Honkai.
It really feels like the beginning cutscenes, with how overly expressive they are...
I need to play that.
This combat needs optimizing. At this speed...
Wait, no, that's... that.
Just turn top to...
Where is it? Like, do you see what I mean by, like, overproduced and it's, like, too much?
Watch and learn. This is Honkai.
What the fuck is even going on? Like, do you see what I mean? Like, what is this shit? It's high budget. It's a lot of VFX for sure. But like, bro, this is some trash. It's actually trash.
Just an attention grab. Most of the ones I feel like a TikTok edit are placed at the beginning of the game, then later on you get into more normal shit. Now, at times...
What does the guy say, the DJ guy? The bringer of cacophony! The auto-tune guy. No, that's my favorite character in this game. Low-key, if he was playable, I would have stayed.
I appreciate this because it leads to better cutscenes. Like, if the one in this character quest had the same amount of effects drowning it out, it wouldn't work. But it creates a bit of a disjunction. If you come in and the beginning cutscenes are like they are, you expect that for the rest of the game. Sort of, if you were to compare it to a game in your mind, ZZZ would probably pop up.
Yeah.
I think Zenless does a...
And you want to know what other game is not doing good that's actively dying? Even with cutscene quality like this? Yeah, let me just pop it open for you boys. Let's surely we can see it over here. Let's look it up. Zenless Zone 0. That's not looking good. Ooh, that ain't. Hey, it's better than AKE at least. Ooh, just casually hitting sub 100 viewers earlier this morning. Yeah, no, we should all aspire to be like ZZZ too.
A much better job, and there are differences between the two games and how they do cutscenes, but a lot of people would probably make that comparison in their mind. Then in the rest of the game, you see them start erring on the side of cutscenes you'd see in WoWa, for example. Stuff that's more actiony but isn't drowned out by 10,000 effects. And for me, when I compare the cutscenes later in the game to the start, it builds up to an overall sentiment I have for the game of, this is a melting pot, it lacks a strong core identity.
Oh, so he's basically saying that the later cutscenes are more WoWa-like, while the first ones are more ZZZ-like, so it seems like there was like a disjointed level of vision, not really like a lot of cohesion from the animation teams, at least when they were working on the final vision of the game.
This thought process isn't just there because of the cutscenes, it's an amalgamation of most things within the game. If it was just the cutscenes, I can excuse it as growing pains. You know, maybe they went for a style, weren't feeling it, but there was no need to spend dev time changing it, so they left it as is. You know, shit happens, it is what it is. But instead, I feel like the game doesn't know what it wants to be. As of now, it's multiple different things, but none of them really mesh well. Like, okay, you got the identity of horror game where you track down anomalies and stop them. Does this mesh well with the slice of life anime shit you go through at Abon? Not really.
Horror and slice of life, I feel like actually works if it's more horror and then a little bit of slice of life. This is not a game where it's like mostly horror and then a little bit slice of life. It's like 90% slice of life, 10% horror. So the horror just seems like it isn't even there.
Then at Avon, you're there and it's pretty apparent. Y'all some broke bitches. Y'all ain't really got the most money at Avon, so sometimes you take on commissions you aren't really feeling because it has a lot of zeros attached to it. However, you then go off to play the GTA part of the game where you're driving around in luxury cars, buying out penthouses, doing heists on bank for money, then you can't spend a single dime of the money you make towards Avon.
That's also the funny thing. You're buying like houses worth millions of fonds, cars worth millions of fonds, and then you still like live in like this shed when you have like 17 different apartments. How does that even make sense?
Just deal with the main story treating you like
how does that even make sense that we have 7 apartments but then we're still living at Avon? This is why housing systems need to be built into the lore properly. That's why the Serenity Teapot isn't actually a bad lore implementation of housing, even though it's shit. You get that shit early on in the game and it like separates itself enough from like the game world, so it's like not really that big of like a deal, right? But like here where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Avon's broke, but you're also a tycoon that's robbing banks for billions of dollars.
you're surviving off a diet of plain white bread and water because you can't afford anything more. That's a part of what I'm talking about. The main story exists and the GTA activities also exist, but time wasn't put into making those elements from GTA mesh well with their current games.
The GTA premise is you starting off as like a bum, or if you're not a bum, you're in debt, like Michael. And then you work your way up from like the bottom and then go to the top. In this game, right, you like start from the bottom and you're still at the bottom in the story, but like you're at the top outside of it.
So it feels out of place. Like if I got all this money, why can't I donate it to help Avon? Is it because it'd be too hard to implement?
Huh? Anyone saying huh or like having like the gay emote, you're actually gay. I'm being so honest with you. Nah, anyone that was questioning the terminology, you're just gay.
Within the story, or is it because the devs thought of it?
Like, there's a reason why you're not allowed to go grocery shopping. You probably walk by the produce section and they get an erection. And then you were banned from the grocery store. You fucking freaks.
The main story thought of content to add to their game, then decided to just copy GTA and market themselves as anime GTA. And also, the side content isn't even that enjoyable as of now. Like, what the fuck do we got? You know, 2 of them, you drive around shit in the world.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's doing city delivery or swift travel to do their city stamina. Are any of you guys doing that shit? Nah, this shit boring as fuck. These 2 boring as fuck.
One of them is an incredibly boring extraction mode, fishing.
Pink Paws was like a little bit of combat, and then like, bro, they need to make a macro for Pink Paws.
Cooking
Is just spam the F key.
bare bones rhythm minigame, Tetris with input delay, and Mahjong. The only minigame I found.
The only one that I felt like was actually possible for me to do was fishing, because I could do it while doing something else on the side. But when I realized I was at the point where I was like spending my time in the game, doing something else to play the game, that's not good.
Found enjoyable is racing. That's it. The driving ones aside from racing are just boring. The heist is a shit game mode. Why would I willingly play owner selection or fishing? Why play Super Sound over any free rhythm game? Same with Tetris, and kind of the same with Little Sparrows. Why play that over Mahjong Soul or Ricci City? Especially
it's because they want you to spend a majority of your time in this game, and then this game becomes like a hub for you to play other games. The issue is that when you're splitting all your resources into making a game like NTE, like the hub for you to play all these other games, is that, one, bro, I don't fucking play Mahjong. I don't play racing games. I don't play Tetris. I don't play any of these games. I was playing NTE for NTE, not to go play racing or Tetris. It's cool that they have those for people that like it, but like, the core gameplay cannot be stuff that I wasn't here for the game for. And the core gameplay, the combat, all of that, it's not that crazy.
Considering how basic the Mahjong is in this game. Of course, the reason to play these things in the game is to spend city stamina to get money. However, if the grind in your game orients around a collection of minigames that are boring as hell to play, why would I want to grind in your game?
Nah, this doesn't look fun, bro. I'm sorry.
That's all it is. I heard people say the game has so much content, but the content is just minigame slop.
Nah, I'm sorry. Like, you couldn't pay me to play this. I'm gonna go do something else. I'm gonna go do anything else instead of doing this.
And the minigames aren't interesting.
What the fuck?
just basic shit thrown into the game. And the basic shit doesn't even have sauce. Yo, holy fuck. Yo, compare the rhythm.
Bro, 100% completion in this game involves doing that for like 20 hours. You know that, right?
Game in this to something you'd see in the Yakuza games.
And you want to know the other thing? I don't think it even makes sense to do comparisons with like Yakuza games and stuff like this from back in the day, because you want to know what era of gaming this was? Bro, this shit is from like 2006 or 7, right? Like 2008, 2009. When you bought games back then, or when you played games back then, you bought them. And like buying them involved like going to the store. Nobody like downloaded games and stuff. Like sometimes you would just buy a game and then like that was it. Like that was the only game that you were going to buy for like a year, like 6 months or something like that. And then you would only play this one game for like 6 months. That's how games were designed. They were built. But nowadays, when you could just download some shit, if you don't like a game, you can immediately start downloading another one. There's thousands of free-to-play games that all cover a bunch of different genres and stuff like that, or they're only like $3 and they take like 2 minutes to download. A game having like a bunch of different mini games or like side content, an abundance of things was good, great, awesome. Think San Andreas, GTAs, all of those. Those were conducive with this type of gaming because you couldn't just go out and get another game to scratch that itch. Bro, but when I'm in NTE and I'm thinking about racing or Tetris or Mahjong or whatever, I know I could get a better version of all of these games that are in NTE in minutes, if not seconds. Probably in 10 minutes, I could have a better version of every game type that's in NTE, ready to go, ready to launch on my PC. Okay, you made your point. This is dog shit. You made your point. It's fucking bad.
Actually, I mean, damn, the Yakuza games are a good comparison because the minigames in that are a large part of the fun. Meanwhile, I can't think of a reason to play any of the ones in Neverness to Everness if game rewards weren't tied to them.
That's because it's the nature of a gacha title. In Yakuza, you're not playing Yakuza so that you can go pull the next Yakuza character. In NTE, you're playing NTE so that you can get the resources to go pull other characters. That's always going to be the main focus of these gacha games. And when you decide to lock off things that people want behind things that they might not want to do, that's a recipe for burnout. When you're playing the minigames in Yakuza, you're 100% doing them because you want to play Yakuza. You're never going in and then you're like, oh, fuck. Just got done with my 8-hour shift at work. Now I have to go play some Yakuza minigames. No, you'll just not play them. Go crack a beer or something and go order some takeout and then go watch TV instead. While you try to do that on a Sunday night in NTE and you're like, oh, wait, nope, you got to go spend 700 city stamp and go play some Mahjong, bitch. And that's where the burnout happens.
Except for racing, though. That I do like, but it's pretty much just that. Aside from that, it's these...
And that's why I feel like this whole sort of like mini game thing, making mini games required, that's going to be really rough for a gacha title unless you just make one of the mini... This is what I see coming for NTE. One of the city stamina things that they're going to add is like a way for people to clear out 700 and it's like mainly combat. It's going to be like clean up the streets. Clean up the streets of all the criminals. And then you just go on like a city expedition and just go like wipe out like 100 mobs and then like all your city stamina is gone. Like I almost guarantee they're going to put something like that in the game. Because right now, it's just, bro, there's only so much fit. Guys, people are getting burnt out of the city stamina activities within a week. Like, just think about how, like, bro, what are people gonna do in it like 2 months from now?
same shit other games have done, but
What are people gonna do in 7 weeks?
worse, or free alternatives exist to play them that are so
If it's this bad right now, 7 weeks later.
much better. So it ends up not feeling like content, but just more choices for how to grind.
How long does it take to consume all your city stamina? I was fishing for an hour, and then I think I consumed like 200 something, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
And then after finishing the main story, it's pretty much all that's left. You got the minigames to grind and get money, explore the open world, and do the Spiral Abyss.
I think it would take you like 3 hours fishing, no lie. I think it would take you 3 hours fishing to clear 700, maybe.
Like, I can say I do like going through the world, especially as it's pretty much just a big city to explore, so it does end up feeling different than what's become a large part of the standard in 3D gachas, which is more wilderness-oriented, and the cities are relatively small. Though, for the combat, I can't lie, I just find it really hard to care. There was never a point I felt interested in the combat and wanted to dive into the systems behind it. Like,
This game's combat basically just feels like dodge and parry slop. Literally, this game's combat actually is dodge and parry slop.
imagine the gameplay of a 3D open world gacha. You have imagined the gameplay of Neverness to Everness. It just feels like I'm playing the same thing I've played a shit ton before, but don't take this as an in-depth analysis. That is very much just a first impressions view of the combat, even though I've already played through all the main story content.
It's like Genshin with parries and intro skills. But the thing is, it's like the intro skills, you don't even like really get to decide when they happen, and they don't really do that much.
It kind of just feels like, yo, ChatGPT, generate me a combat system for a 3D open world gacha game, and this is the result. And on that topic, this game does heavily love AI. Now, I don't view the debate of AI in games as a purely black or white way, just because you can't view most things in life that way. Context should be an incredibly important factor when you're judging something.
Yep.
So even though I personally dislike when generative AI is used in games, and I don't want to support it because I view the human nature of creating something to be incredibly important, doesn't mean there's times I can't forgive a game for using it or support one for moving away from it.
This is my take on AI. If you're using it to develop new and enriching features that will like actually make games better, go for it. Who fucking cares? But if you're using it to cut corners on content or things that can already be done by a human, and while you're cutting corners, you make it obvious that this is a lower quality product because AI was used, then I have an issue with it. Because essentially, you're now saving on costs and delivering me a worse product, and I'm not going to be happy about it. Bro, it's really... The AI stance should be just as, like, typical as, like, any other cost-cutting measure a company is using. Like, bro, if you're, like, cereal provider, right? Your cereal manufacturer decided to start sourcing their wheat from like homeless people, and then the food starts tasting worse, but they're getting it cheaper. Aren't you allowed, like, you're allowed to say as a consumer, I don't like that you're using this shit. Can you stop using it? Can you go back to what was good before? This game has had numerous instances where they're putting out shit that actually looks bad, that actually looks like trash, and it was because they used AI to cut corners. I'm like, hey, how about you just use people instead for this sort of stuff? Because you're actually putting out a worse product.
Like a big example is Mormons. It's a gacha that at one point was broke as shit. They deadass had no money. So they decided to use ChatGPT for the translation to other languages. And long story short, they were eventually fortunate enough to get the money they needed to stay afloat and for the game to thrive. And when they got that money, they hired a team of human translators for the translation of the game, replacing the one done by AI. That is something I can easily support. The way
Yeah? But does NTE need to save this much money? Probably not.
they use generative AI in this game, however, just builds onto the overall sentiment of what their design philosophy feels like to me. Laziness. The budget behind this game is...
And that's what I think is the main thing. There's a lack of consistency. I know they were saving money somewhere, but it's like with the money savings that they use, they instead decided to like build wider instead of like building taller. They just added more and more features to the game to the point where it's like you maybe should have spent more time working out the foundation.
considerably bigger than Mormon's, yet it has so much more AI put into the game. Not at
And don't worry, you want to know how I know they had a big budget? You don't get numbers like this on release, bucko, unless you had a big budget. Yeah, do you know how much they paid people? How much they sponsored people? Bro, there are so many sponsored CCs out there that were like bragging about how much money NTE gave them. Let me go find the clip of one of those sponsored CCs. You'll probably see a video defending NTE coming out of him very soon. Hey, listen to this, boys.
We unlocked a potential one. The amount of money that NTE is spending on marketing is gonna go crazy. Let's just say that.
Well, shit. Anyways, yeah, this is the same guy who's, like, bragging about the fact that he's getting, like, sponsored multiple weeks in a row, or it's, like, 5 days or something, to just stream NTE exclusively. They're spending a lot to, like, have these CCs under their grip, under their umbrella, not actually able to, like, critique the game or say anything negative. They have people literally on payroll to, well, lie about the game at this point. Like, maybe it's not lying, but it's definitely not portraying honest opinions about it. And this is how you know the opinions are probably not honest. Just take a look at this situation over here. Let's look at that Grifter Smack. Let's look at how his sort of like channel's been progressing across this NTE sponsorship. Bro is basically just out here, repeatedly streaming the game while sponsored, and then after the sponsorship, he's out. I'm out of here. And the views are fucking awful. The views are like legitimately some booty cheeks. Because the game, like I mentioned before, the game has unfortunately kind of fallen off. But they kept the sponsors going for a while. And if you want to know where Gacha Smack is at right now, he's done with NTE, done and over with. You'll see him in the 1.1 update for another sponsored set of streams. He's now moving on to Honor of Kings. Don't worry, guys. He's already on to the next bag. And he'll probably tell you how much the Honor of Kings devs are spending for him to cover the game too. Guys, that's just the reality of this.
Of necessity, but instead to cost cut having actual people create those assets. Like,
just get the bag and move on.
Using AI to copy shots from Mothering With You, having an entire AI-generated movie about that, another in the theaters that's like 18 minutes long, having one appear before doing heists on the TV in your apartment, creating assets in the game with it, like this gramophone. Now,
so there's like 7 or 8 instances of this AI usage, but then they only remove like 1 or 2 things.
after the game was called out for this, they did remove some of the AI assets, like the movies and the animated bit that plays before you do a heist, some of the billboards, but of course, parts that people aren't talking about as much are still in the game, like the cutouts at the maid cafe. This is literally bare bones basic, stable diffusion, generate me an image levels of shit. Like motherfuckers on Twitter are
that's not good.
generating AI images that do a better job of hiding that they're AI. How do y'all got this generic shit in the game? So do I think they're genuinely remorseful about using AI and they care about the feedback? Nah. If so, shit people didn't complain about that was still AI would have been changed. Instead, it's obvious that AI was used to cut corners. And I heard people rephrase it like, oh yo, it was so they could get to the funner parts of making a game quicker, yeah, that's why they used AI. Nah. The suits told them they wanted the game out quickly, so they had them use AI to make parts of the game.
But the suits had enough money to sponsor everybody, though, at the same time. So it's kind of just like, bro, it seems like NTE and its publishing and dev team just had a lot of money. And they were like, okay, how can we make this game successful in the least amount of time? Let's use AI to cut corners everywhere. Let's not refine a lot of the baseline game mechanics. And let's just spend a fuck ton of money buying out every CC, have them pretend that the game is really good for like 1 or 2 weeks, and let's see what happens. Let's pull the Arknight's Enfield tactic, where we go ahead and we buy out every... While I'm live? Oh, okay. Well, that's a good gift, Hypergriff. Let's pull out the Enfield tactic, where we do the exact same thing. We fuck up the game, make it not good on release, and then just buy out every CC, have them pretend the game is good, and then go with that illusion. Then let's proceed to realize the game is completely fucked, so that even after 2 updates, even after we buy out every CC again, on a 3-week patch cycle, we're still gonna end up at double-digit viewers. How long has it been? 4 months into launch, we're at double-digit viewers. That's the impact of over-sponsoring a game. That's the impact of paying people to pretend your game is good, when in reality, it's trash that people don't actually want to play. And that's the result of molesting the gacha content space by buying out, putting a gag order on every CC that you possibly can so that games like these just come and go and die silently. Is this good for the space? Is this good for gacha? I'm just wondering, is this good? Shovel out garbage games with no Q&A, low quality, not fun. People drop them within a month because they know that they were rushed. They know that they weren't built well. They don't have a good foundation. Buy out every CC possible who could talk about it. Then the game just falls off because it's not a good game. And then the next one releases and every CC goes to it. I'm watching this happen live, where everyone bought into AKE, went Grifto mode with it. Now we're going Grifto mode for NTE, and people are leaving that. Now we're going to go Grifto mode for Honor of Kings, and then everyone's going to leave that one. Bro, is that the meta nowadays? I am telling you this. The space is dead in like 3 or 4 months. Your audience, the gacha audience understands everyone's just bought out. The gacha audience understands now, at this point, there are no real opinions. There's a reason why this dude on this stream got 3.3k views. Because he's fake as fuck, and everyone knows he's fake as fuck at this point. And so they don't care about what he's saying about these games. And that's going to become every gacha CC at this rate, because you know what occurs? People stop watching gacha videos when they see that every CC seems fake and bought out. They're not real. They're just saying whatever the company is telling them to say for a bag. Every CC in the space is doing that at this point, aside from a very select few. And so now everyone thinks every CC is fake. And so why even watch CCs in the first place? We all think they're fake. They're all just lying to us. They're all just doing this for a bag. And so views across the space all go down because now everyone thinks everyone in gacha is fake. It's ridiculous. But hey, people are ready to go bag hunting, bro. It's fine.
Having all aspects in the game made by humans was not an important factor to them, so instead of hiring more people, they took the lazy way, generating a ton of stuff that they thought they could get away with. Now, some people said aspects in the game that were AI generated, then replaced, were just replaced by more AI, like the soda can on the billboard. I can't lie, for something bare bones like this, it's hard to say 100% if it's AI generated. Whenever it comes to characters, it's easy as hell to tell, but this one, there's a lot of leeway. But would I be surprised if it's AI? Nah, because it just feels par for the course of how lazy the design in this game is. So much of the game is just copying what other games have done and not innovating on those ideas at all or barely. So I'm not surprised they use AI to make this game. Now, to some people, using AI isn't all that big a deal, or it's positive to them, somehow. I don't know, my life isn't pathetic enough to understand that mindset. But to me, when I look at the state the game is in, I'm not surprised at all. The idea of anime GTA is nice, but like Duet Night Abyss, when you are copying a game that is already out, you need to actually expand on the ideas you are copying. Games themselves are built upon taking what another did and doing it better.
I think NTE's idea of expansion was just adding a bunch of shit to the game.
When your game revolves around taking an idea a game has already done or perfected, and all you have to show for your version is a watered-down replica of it, why should I waste my time playing the game? Like I heard people say, aside from the AI, this game is generational. Well, let me speak as someone who has actually played this game. Aside from the AI, you have a soulless Yakuza or GTA game. But honestly, calling the entirety of it soulless is not the most accurate. I'd say the portions they copied without improvement feel soulless. Like the wanted system is a good example. In GTA, you can point a gun at someone and their reaction would be different, or you can rob a store to get money. That's stuff that's interesting to do in the game that will increase your wanted level because it's illegal. In this game, if you do a combo on an NPC, the response isn't interesting. At first they're a bit scared, then they try to fight back, though they just stand there pretty much as you beat their ass. Then they run off and you get their wallet. That's it. So it's not interesting. There's no benefit to increasing your wanted level aside from the hell of it, or if there's some car you want to steal. It was just soullessly copied over because the game they were using had it. Like, dear God, you can't even attack in stores. But
do you even get money for their wallet?
if the police catch you, you get sent to prison. Or you gotta wait out your days in prison, be a good inmate, or pay a fine to get out of prison early. And that is actually interesting. They added more to the system. It wasn't just...
Does this guy know about the CN regulations? I think it's more so a, why did you even try adding this shit to the game, knowing your regulations?
Here's Tetris, but instead expanded on an idea they used from a different game. However, with most system mechanics and Everness to Everness, it feels like a lot more is the former case where they just copy stuff and that's it. They don't innovate. When they do, it actually gets interesting, like the anomaly hunts. I've not seen a game really do this before, and it's...
The prison stuff is fun, to be fair, is it?
Actually legit.
I just saw the guy doing AKE gameplay of cleaning walls.
Legitimately interesting to have big hunts like these out in the open world. That part isn't soulless. Yet it makes up a small portion of the open world aspect compared to everything else that feels soullessly copied. It's apparent that the game can be good when it tries, like the hunts, the art direction in the beginning cutscene of the game, chapter 3, but so many times they cut corners resulting in the good aspects being mired down or the aspect which, on their own could be passable, being seen as much worse.
There's just so much stuff to not care about, and I'm not gonna lie. I think a good reason for why people will probably be dropping NTE a lot is that, dude, the opening initial cast of characters suck. Dude, like, honestly, everybody sucks. I hate Natalie. I hate Mint. I hate the little midget. I hate the boy midget. I hate Adler. I hate Tagido. I honestly, I don't know how they managed it. I hate Hotori. Like, I hate Hotori. I hate the two little angel, Haniel, and whoever the fuck Iluga is. I hate them all. Bro, I have never hated every character like this before. I don't like a single one of them.
Like, it's hard to say the main story is good because...
And I think the only ones I don't hate are Hathor and Daffodil because they don't talk.
And an alright prologue and
If they talked more, I'd probably hate them.
third chapter when everything else was middling or outright bad, or to respect the art direction knowing how much is lazily AI generated. And the thing with it being AI gen and how that hurts the art style isn't so much the straight line of thinking AI bad, therefore using it bad and
What about Juyan? I don't know what it is. I don't even like Juyan.
hurts game, but more so the idea of, if you are making a world within a game, to really make it feel alive, it's best to make it so every aspect in the game feeds into the overall world.
One of the reasons why I don't like Juyan is, like, she tries so hard to be like this, oh, I'm mysterious, but I also, like, kind of know everything. Yeah, like, I'm very capable. And then she never does anything.
So while Neverness to Everness has its movies and ads in the game AI generated slop that really doesn't feed into the actual world, you then got games like Cyberpunk, where you can look at the ads and billboards and they're all coherent. They change with your actions in the world. They were made with human intention based on the game to make the world in it feel more alive. Where Neverness to Everness has this replaced by a prompt given to a machine. That's the difference.
I think he might be reaching, like, a little bit. Who knows how much they've decided to use AI, but I think it's more so this. You see a lot of clues, a little, like, you know, a lot of, like, bits of evidence that there's been a lot of cut corners, a lot of things skipped, a lot of things kind of, like, added in without a lot of, like, care, double checking, all of that. And I think the end result is that adding in AI on top of that calls into question how well everything in the game was developed. And that's why I think the AI allegations against NTE are, like, so bad, because the game is weak in a lot of places. And in a similar vein, that's why the AI allegations against a game like E33, nobody cared, because the game's good.
Even when we take out ethical questions about AI use and all that, it's just worse than human creativity and intent, which is easily seen as lacking with Neverness to Everness because they use AI to just copy an anime movie. It's shit like this that makes the game feel poorly made or rushed. Filler main story chapters, cutting corners by AI generating stuff, lack of coherency within its game mechanics, a sizable amount of content being copied from other games that make me just not care about this game. Is it a horrible game? No, I wouldn't say so. I've played horrible games. This isn't that. But is it really forgettable for me? 100%. There's not really something all that big that this game has done that is overly memorable to me.
And I don't think that there's a lot of stuff in this game that if you've already played other gachas before, other open world ones specifically, if you've played ZZZ and if you've played Wuwa, I don't think that there's necessarily a lot that's, like, keeping you in this game.
It's done good shit, but my reaction to it is, oh, that's nice, instead of, yo, this is legendary to see in a game.
Like, the game's gacha system is good. That is fair without a doubt. But, like, is the gacha system enough for you to play a game? Like, are you going to play the game just because you can get every character or get every weapon and get all the stuff? Is that enough? And, like, the rest of the game, you just don't like it? No, bro. No, bro.
Like, okay, think about some of the best games.
It's like, this is like you agreeing to let yourself get hammered in the balls for free as long as you get to choose which hammer does it.
You've played. Think about core things they've
nah, I'm good, bro.
done which made you fall in love with them or that stuck with you. To me, this game doesn't have anything like that. To give some examples, Yakuza. The minigames are generational to the point of being a big appeal to the actual game. GTA, open world, a lot of freedom with the shit you can do in it.
Not even close? How?
Let's make it broader. Arknights, innovated on the concept of a tower defense so much so where I think it has some of the best gameplay I've seen in a game.
I love how he doesn't talk about Enfield.
Final Fantasy XIV somehow made an MMO that you can damn near entirely play as a single-player story-based game if you wanted to. The Trail series made a series of games all set within the same world, like about 13 games, all adding to the world building of that series. Final Fantasy VII popularized story in games being actually good and having games kill off members in the main cast. Deadlock made the MOBA genre work as a movement shooter. Elden Ring showed a Soulsborne can be made into an open world and greatly benefit from that.
I've never seen anyone talk about Deadlock before. Is it like, do people actually play it?
Genshin Impact, legendary 3D animated porn. It's shit like this that you
Did he just call it 3D animated porn? I need to re-listen to that real fast.
legendary 3D animated porn. It's shit like this that you can look at what really good games have done, and they stay in your memory. They've done shit that sticks with you.
Why is he like slapping, bro, while saying that?
There is not anything notable.
Why did he only start like he only started doing this when he got to that part?
Everness to Everness has done that will stick with me when I uninstall the game. Like it has done stuff that is different. It being anime GTA is well enough in that category, but it doesn't do anything well enough for that to stick with me. Does that mean it has done everything bad? No. It just means I view it as a 5 out of 10 that is a melting pot of what so many better games have done.
I think a fair amount of this game is going to keep people hooked for like a couple of days, no doubt, but I really see the retentiveness or like the retention, the long-term sort of like levels. I don't really see them staying very high at all unless there's like some crazy content that comes out soon.
Now, to be fair, it is a live service, so judging it like it's an entirely finished game isn't accurate. It's entirely possible that this game could get better later on, maybe like a 2.0 or something could add a lot more to it. So this is only a judgment of how it is in 1.0. And that judgment is, I'm not impressed. At all. There's shit to enjoy, there's aspects I like, but overall, it's not something that has kept me interested. If you enjoy it, that's a good thing. It's nice to have more stuff to enjoy, but in my time of playing it, it just felt forgettable to me.
Quantity over quality. And to me, it's a game where I feel like I have to spend a lot of time. And if the time I spend is fun and I enjoy it, great. Good with spending time. But in this game, I just don't enjoy spending my time enough. So I don't know. It's just kind of hard to play.
Just another 3D open world gacha thrown out there that I'll forget about in a bit. I hope the game improves. I hope it gets a stronger sense of direction. But as of now, I just don't really care about it. If it was deleted from existence tomorrow, I would not care in the slightest. I don't hate it, I don't like it, I just feel indifferent towards it, which is probably the worst thing a game can make you feel.
He ain't wrong about that one. He is not wrong about that one. Indifference is not good because you'd rather hate a game or you'd rather love a game. Or that's what the developer would prefer you have. If you just don't even think about the game, that shit is cooked. It's pretty fucked at that point. Yeah, that's just the unfortunate reality over here for NTE, guys. And I think that the numbers aren't lying. The Google Trends definitely aren't lying either. When it comes to Neverness to Everness, it is falling off. And it's been falling off. Hotori released and it's still falling off. And so we'll see where it stabilizes. Is it going to be better or worse than Arknight's Enfield? Who knows? But it's a race to the bottom for both of these two. We'll see who the winner of that struggle actually is. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out. Oh yeah, by the way, awesome video by Sonal over here. Yeah, no, I might have to like and subscribe to this bad boy over here. He's pumping out some crazy content, and I see why he plays Genshin Impact for interesting reasons. Peace out.